Оксана будет. Так, спроси у него, можно ли начинать говорить, потому что он сказал, подожди, микрофон включит. So, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, Your Excellency, Professor, friends, our first-time friends, and friends for many, many years. Today, at the great event, as usually, the 9th time we have a etECH conference. And I'm really happy that you are here, and I'm really happy that we have new participants. And I'm really grateful for our old friends, let's say. And I really think that you will enjoy this event. Today we will have a plenary session and welcome party only. Yeah, we changed our format for those who attended previous conferences. Here you see that a little bit different schedule. Yeah, if you like it, we will continue. Because remember, next year you should be here definitely. Why? 10th anniversary, yes, exactly. But to open our conference, I would like to give the floor to the rector of the etECH University of Applied Sciences, Professor Oksana Lintushenkova.
So for me, it's better to stay here, if you will allow me. Yes, because I like to see people, and I like when people see me. So good morning, good afternoon, dear, I would say friends, because all of you are our friends. But before I will open the conference, I would like to tell you a story. I like stories very much. And 11 years ago, in Brno, I met Yelena. And we have had just small conversation about how are you? I'm fine. What are your plans? And I said to Yelena that I plan to join to etECH University. And I know that we have to develop science at our university. Yelena said, sounds interesting. Year later, I bring our owner, Anna, to Brno, to next conference in Brno, and we met with Yelena, me and Anne, and from that time Yelena joined to our university, and we started to develop science at etECH University of Applied Science. But for us it's not just a continue to develop science at etECH University. For me, it's not a story about science. I would say that it is a story about community building. And we built it for 9 years, etECH community. And next year, yes, we will celebrate our 10th anniversary. And I truly believe that we have very strong community network with very strong ties, because many people join us every year, new people, and many people come to us for 9th time, for 8th time. I know people who are in the room who attended etECH from the first time. So where are my Lithuanian colleagues? Yeah, here, yes. Yeah, Uwe from Germany, yes, I also know he also was at first at etECH. So it means that we really built very strong community. And I would like to open our conference and would like to say that we will be very glad and very happy if you will join our community and continue to attend etECH also next year, not only for celebrating our 10th anniversary, just for being a etECH community. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, dear rector, for such warm words and this brilliant story. Yeah, Brno is our destiny city, yes, for etECH and for us personally. So, and now I would like to give you a short description of this etECH. So I need my presentation now. if I can ask? Actually, how do you like the hall? I mean, the conference hall. Me too. Do you mind if you have tents at etECH here as well? Yeah, super. Decided. So I have a pult, probably, yeah. Can I change already? No? Yeah, exactly. So, once again, yeah, today is a ninth etECH. We launched this brand etECH, not the conference etECH, of sure, yeah, it was before. But the brand etECH was founded in 2017, yeah, with the joint efforts of our administration, yeah, we just sat at the table and said, okay, we need probably the unified name for the conference because it's very difficult, you know, every year just to mind up something new, yeah. So, and we really like our abbreviation. It's nice, and it describes our interdisciplinary nature. And now, at the moment, we have 5 strategic partners. Alberta College. Evita, where are you? Yeah, you're here. Ferris State University. Michael, he will join us online. And Sumy State University, Ukraine. Yeah, unfortunately, our colleagues could not come. Yeah, but they are with us. We are always in touch. Ambis University, and Renata is here. And also our Latvian Economist Association of Latvian Economists, and we have our head Yeva. Yeva there, yeah. So. These are our strategic partners who help us, yeah, participate in our conference, sometimes give us money, yeah, that is also appreciated. So, and these are our participants' countries. This year we have, during International Weekend etECH, 24 countries. As I told before, during the welcome party for International Week, we will not drink today for each country. Yes. Otherwise, yeah, probably I will not see you tomorrow at etECH, yeah, during the presentations, yeah. But still, you can see that we have participants from all over the world, yeah. We have people from the very far, from Colombia, USA, Ghana, yeah. So Kazakhstan, yeah. It was a long way for them, yeah, just to come, yeah, at long distance, and for sure our European partners. And now I would like to introduce you to the moderators of the tomorrow's sessions. So the first session, let's shortly call it economics, and the moderators will be Professor Vita Zarina and Professor Inga Shina. Please stand up, my dear professors, yeah? Yeah, you can see, but if you don't recognize them, yeah, you will always have photos in the agenda. The next session is sustainability and circular economy, and we have 3 because one part will be completely online. So Edgar Cherkovskis, Inga Uvarova, she's probably not here. Yeah, she's just, you know, defending her dissertation in the very short period. Probably she's just sitting and writing. She will be tomorrow. And my dear Victoria Skvarciani from Vilnius Tech. Business section, Kaspar Steinbergs and Renata Shkipalova from Ambis University. Pedagogy and education, Larisa Turusheva, she is here. Kristina Uzhule is also here, and Anna Strasda. Yeah, everybody is here. Session of law, Karina Zaltzmana and Marina Kamenetska-Usova. Karina is here. Yeah, Marina will be tomorrow. Social impact research, Professor Velga Wevere and our new friend Andrew Lim from Netherlands. And also, we will have special guests during our social impact research session. These are representatives of New Door Social Entrepreneurship Accelerator, Ms. Diana Lapkis and Ms. Maria Povilaite. and also representative from the Social Entrepreneurship Association of Latvia, LIVA, but she's not here. She will be tomorrow. ICT, my dear Uwe Busbach from Germany, University of Kiel, and Tatiana Tambovtseva, Riga Technical University. And last but not least, as usually says, our culture and arts, Yelena Budantseva, who is sick tomorrow, but she promised me that she will be definitely at the session, and Zana Weidenberger, who is here, So my nice moderators, representative of ECHA and other universities, So if you have some questions, you know whom to approach. And that's it. I'm always very short. I officially proclaim the 9th Conference, Emerging Trends in Economics, Culture and Humanities, opened. So, and now I will ask our strategic partners, those who are here, the representatives, just to say some greeting words. Or maybe not some, but many greeting words, So, and we will start with our oldest strategic partner, Alberta College, and with Evita Kransmane, Deputy Director.
Thank you, Elena, for a spotlight. Dear guests, participants, colleagues, friends, it's really an honor for me and quite frankly an adventure as well to stand here in front of you and welcome you on behalf of Alberta College. This year, etECH proudly celebrates its 9th birthday. Let's imagine a child, a 9-year-old child. How would you describe that child? Full of curiosity, endless questions, big, bold dreams, and unstoppable desire to explore unknown. And this is exactly what we are celebrating here, this spirit of desire to explore something new. By sharing our visions, encourage meaningful conversations, and building bridges in the world of knowledge. I do believe that true learning and best ideas don't happen when everyone politely agrees, but when we can respectfully and creatively dare to challenge each other. And for the moment, let's think, what if your idea doesn't work out? I think there's two main scenarios. Worst case, we always can call it just an experiment. You get a round of applause and a great story to tell. But the best case, we will find something really amazing, something more brilliant. So, during the etECH, please find and channel this your inner 9-year-old. Ask wild questions. Be fearless to explore unknown. And every new idea treat like a new playing ground, just waiting to be discovered. And I also would like you to remember what happens in Riga. No, it doesn't stay in Riga. It travels with all of you, inspiring new ideas, sparkling new collaborations, and sometimes maybe even changing the world a little bit. So welcome to Latvia, welcome to Riga, and welcome to etECH. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear Avatar. Brilliant speech. Yeah, I don't know how much time you spent here for writing this. Yeah, I really see that you're fully prepared. So, again, a story, short one. In 2017, or actually no, in 2016, it was my first conference at ECHA, before etECH. But we already had our great supporters. And that time it was Walsh College in USA. And today we have one representative of Walsh College from that time. Anne, where are you? Anne is here. And also Michael Levins. So they supported us, yes, so they came to Riga, and they, from that time, they are our strategic partners. Afterwards, Anne left Walsh College, yeah, and now she's working at West Liberty University. Michael working in Ferry State University, but we still are in contact. And usually coming to Riga, I find that the way, yeah, Michael promised me 100% to be next year, but we have Michael now online, and you can imagine, what time is it now? Not very early, less previously, yeah, because previously it was 3 in the night, yeah, so now it's 8 hours back, yeah, so morning now. So can we connect with Michael now, and Michael will tell us some greeting words, hopefully. I see Michael here. Michael, hello. Hello. Michael, do you hear me? Yeah. Super, we hear you as well. Super.
Good afternoon, colleagues and friends. I'm Mike Levins, a professor in the marketing department at Ferris State University. And for those unfamiliar, Ferris State is a 10,000-student state university located in Big Rapids, Michigan, in the United States. And my colleagues and I are really pleased to support this conference. I had the privilege to complete a Fulbright at ECHA in 2013. It's been a long time. And I've been honored to work with the team at ECHA on a variety of initiatives ever since. It's been just truly rewarding for me, and I hope for my friends, my dear friends there. It's been great to see the growth of this conference. I remember it at the beginning. It was great then, and it's even greater now. And this event, through all of your intellectual contributions, really advances critical knowledge about so many research areas. So, in brief, I just want to congratulate all of you on your impressive work. I enjoyed looking at it, and I want to see more, and it will be great. And I will say, Elena, as you said, I promise to be present next year in person. So again, congratulations to both of you.
Michael, you promised to 100 plus persons, yes? So if you are not, we will come to USA to find you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much to you personally and the Forest State University for your kind support, yeah, and we are really looking forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is right. Okay, we have our friends, I would say, yeah. We are together also for many years. And also, I was working some years at this prestigious, I would say, institution. This is Institute of Economics of the Latvian Academy of Sciences. And today we have the director, Professor Nina Linde, among our guests. Yeah, and I really give you the floor for the greeting words.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear ambassador, dear scientists, the best mind of all the world from 24 countries here in one room is always a big privilege and honor. And on behalf of the Latvian Academy of Sciences and personally from our president, Professor Ivars Kalviņš, Baiba Rivža, and me and all our scientist society, I really would like first of all to congratulate you on our 9th birthday. And let me give these flowers for you, Oksana. Yes. It's great. I'm really happy to have such brilliant friends. In our fragile world, actually, it's so easy. Sometimes I astonished how easy actually it's to destroy partnership and relationship built on many centuries. And I appreciate very much our collaboration, our partnership, our trust. And actually, just a month ago, we organized very successful 7th International Economic Forum in the Latvian Academy of Sciences together with ECA, University of Applied Sciences. And I would like to use this opportunity and share with you 7 main points, main conclusions that formed the preamble of our forum, what we actually discussed and created together. First of all, as the modern world is experiencing increasing instability, politically, economically, socially, in such circumstances, the need for ethics and humanistic values as a stabilizing factor for each person and society as a whole is becoming increasingly vital. Humanistic values, respect for people, solidarity, empathy, responsibility, trust are becoming the opposite of cynicism, abuse, humiliation of other people, indifference, which often dominate global interests. Conclusion number 2, the increase in wars in the world highlights the failure, weakness of political science, highlights the crisis of our social sciences, especially in the field of behavioral psychology, international diplomacy, and conflict prevention and solution. Number 3, in a globalized world, it's impossible to solve crises by thinking only locally or selfishly. A sustainable future is possible only if policy and economic decision makers and also scientists make responsible decisions based not only on the logic of power and advantages, but also on scientific findings, on academical research, on ethical principle and human rights. And I'm very happy to see also colleagues from Asia and other countries. I just some months ago also visited Uzbekistan. I was witnessing this rapid growth, and I was surprised that every minister, and also president, and every institution as an advisor has a scientist. Really great. I think it's very important. Number 4, armament should not become the main priority of national development. In our country, the aim already to succeed 5% from GDP. A preventive peace policy, strengthening diplomacy and building meaningful patriotisms are essential for the resilience and stability of society. Number 5, the current model of democracy and its values require revision and balancing with a humanistic view of the well-being of society. The values of modern democracy should serve as a guarantor of security and social development, not as a promoter of permissiveness or dishonesty. Conclusion number 6 regarding economics, we are witnessing a shift towards more sustainable and inclusive economic models. The traditional focus on GDP growth is being complemented by a broader set of indicators that take into account social and environmental well-being. Concepts such as a circular economy, impact investing, and social entrepreneurship are gaining traction as we strive to create a more resilient economic system. In our last, number 7, conclusion, in such a fluid environment, the need of insightful, ethical, and visionary leadership cannot be overstated. Leadership across all sectors, academic, political, economic, and cultural, plays a crucial role in navigating uncertainty, fostering cooperation and crafting solutions on micro and macro level. As we examine emerging trends, let us also reflect on the kind of leadership the world needs to meet those challenges with wisdom and integrity. So I really would like to emphasize this. Recent geopolitical events clearly show us value and fragility of cooperation. And I would like especially thank you, Rector Oksana Leizhenkova and Vice Rector Yelena Titko and all your brilliant team actually for our long-term cooperation. And in conclusion, let us consider the new trends in economics, new trends in culture and humanities as opportunities for growth, as opportunities for innovation and opportunities for positive change. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you, Nina. So, probably you have seen in the invitation file that we have a lot of partner journals. And among them, we have one which is called O Economica. This is Polish journal and extend Scopus, probably, yeah, our website, so somewhere there in any case, yeah. So, and this journal is edited by our close partner friend Elżbieta Roszko-Wojtowicz, yeah, from the University of Lodz. And Elżbieta really wanted to connect today, and that's why we will have her online with her greeting words. Elżbieta, we see you and hear you very well. Hello.
Okay, good. I just wanted to confirm if everything is fine with the connection. Okay, so hello everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers of the conference on bringing together such an inspiring initiative and on the valuable cooperation established within this academic community. I truly regret I'm not able to join you in person this year in Riga, but I'm very pleased at least to connect with you. I prepared a small presentation, but I have some problems here to present it, so if Evgenia managed to download it, it will be okay. Otherwise, it can be just shared with the conference participants after my speech. So just let me take this opportunity to introduce a journal that may be of interest to many of you. Folia Economica is a peer-reviewed, online, open access, scholarly, quarterly, that has been published since 1980, so nearly 50 years of history. It features original theoretical and empirical articles, as well as policy relevant and review papers across all areas of economic sciences and related disciplines. The journal is indexed in several international databases, including ERICLAS, and we are continually developing. Recently, we launched a new data section where we publish short papers dedicated to presenting the results of ongoing research projects conducted by academic teams. In this section, we aim to ensure a fast-track review process to make timely results more quickly available to the academic community. We are also open to collaboration with scholars who would like to contribute to the journal growth as section editors or members of the advisory committee. So I warmly invite you to this cooperation. And I also encourage you to visit the journal website, explore our recent publication, and consider submitting your work to Folia Economica. Please feel free to contact me directly if you are interested in cooperation or would like to learn more. My contact details are available in the presentation I just mentioned. The conference materials include also bookmarks, which we prepared in collaboration with the University of Łódź Press, especially for today's conference. So, thank you for your time. launched with fruitful discussions during the conference and hope to see your research published with us in the near future. See you then in Riga, Łódź, or another place that fosters scientific discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear Elżbieta. Yeah, and please consider the opportunity to come next year because we have 10th anniversary of etECH, you remember, yeah? So you should be here to celebrate with us, yeah? Thank you very much for contacting. Super great. Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
So, and now I would like to give the floor to the representative of our strategic partner, Association of Latvian Economists, Ieva Ruksle, chairperson.
Dear partners, colleagues, friends, on behalf of Latvian Economists Association, it's a pleasure to welcome you here in this international gathering of minds and ideas. In time of global changes and increasing interculturality and interdisciplinarity, this conference gives an really important opportunity to share knowledge and straight cooperation. We believe that here a share of insights will contribute both locally and internationally, understanding and progress. May your discussions be productive and your time here really useful. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Ieva. So, and now as representative of the Ambis University, my dear friend Renata Shkipalova.
Hello, I have maybe presentation also, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's there. And I just, yes, it's there. Okay, hello. I would like to give you a warming greeting from the center of Europe, from the Czech Republic, because my college is in Prague, so I would like to give warming greetings from Prague for the first. And also, I would like to say a couple of words about our college. We are the largest private college in the Czech Republic. It's our honor to come here and support this conference because we would like to stay in touch with all of you because for us it's important to cooperate, take some new point of view about new topics. And this is the reason why we would like to offer you to stay in touch, come to our country, or bring some new idea, share your ideas online or present in Prague or also in Brno. Because if we mention Brno, I need to say I live in Brno, so it's nice to hear about Brno again, because it's a really nice place, and you are all the time welcome in this country or in this place. Maybe a couple of words about me, because I am here and I would like to offer you support in topics if you are interested about sustainability, because it's important for me, and also about human resources. So if you're interested in these topics, also stay in touch, send your ideas, or we are discuss it later. But now it's time to celebrate this conference. And I can say it's not my wish, it's wish all my colleagues and our director from Ambis College. Wish you all the best. Stay just like you are. I will be happy if we stay here every year, because I feel we are not just a colleague, we are just a friend. And this is the really nice place to share our ideas, our stories, because a lot of stories was here, and I'm happy that we have memories and build memories together, because it's important. We are not researchers only, we are just people, friends, mother, and it's necessary to think about this, because life is about a lot of challenges, and I wish you to take the best opportunity, and also to take the best opportunity for our conference. Thank you again.
Thank you, dear Renata. Actually, we have also ambassador of the Czech Republic in Latvia, but he told at once that he will not take a speech. Yes, so that's why I just greeting you here. And before the break, I would like to give the floor to my great colleague and friend from Mecca, Edgar Cherkovsky. And also to ask Tatiana Tambovtseva to come here, because we want to share with you some news, and really great thing that we did, together this year, finally. It was a long story. So, Edgar, take the mic. Presentation.
Dear friends, partners and guests, it's a great honor to welcome you here today to the official opening of BASIS, the Baltic Circular Ecosystem. A very good place for applause. This is a moment we've been working toward with passion and purpose, because today we are not just launching a new association, we are opening the doors to a new way of thinking, a way of doing things together, smarter and greener. We believe that the circular economy is not only about recycling or reducing waste, it's about changing our mindset. It's about rethinking how we produce, how we consume, and how we live, with respect of nature and responsibility for the future. We live in a time of climate challenges, resource limits, and fast change. But we also live in a time of innovation, creativity, and strong community energy. We create BASIS to bring these energies together. BASIS is proudly founded by 3 amazing organizations: ECHA University of Applied Sciences, New Door, a hub of social entrepreneurship, and Panākumu Universe. Each founder is different, but we are united by the same values: sustainability, collaboration, and impact. Together, we want to connect the dots between business, education, government, and people, between ideas in education, in science, and in real life. So what we will do next? The truth is we are not in a rush to the everything do at once. We are here to listen, grow, and learn together. We will support new ideas. We will help people meet, talk, and work on things that matter. We will create space for action, step by step, in our own way. And we know we can't do this alone. That's why we are here today. Because we want you to be a part of this. We invite businesses, NGOs, students, professors, municipalities, everyone to join us. Share your ideas, share your experience, and share your energy. BASIS is not just our association, it is yours too. For ECHA, BASIS will also become something more. It will be a space to try new thinking, test ideas, and explore how education can stay strong in a world that keeps changing. And let me close with a simple thought. We all want to live this world better than we found it. We want our children's and future generations to live in a clean, healthy, and fair society. BASIS is a small but important step toward that goal. Thank you. Let's stay open, let's stay strong, let's do this together. Thank you.
Yeah, dear guests, my congratulations for all of you to be here. It's a really pleasure for me as well. I participated for many years and chairing a session of IT, but for today, association is very important originally. We are working very much on circular economy and social entrepreneurship, and I think the association will give us a possibility to broaden our work and to be stronger together with the partners. And I'm happy to be a part of it, and I hope also and invite all of you to be a part of this association and to do our world better. Thank you very much. I really wanted to see our owner today, yeah, but she's on the meeting that she could not skip. But still, we have a representative of one of the founders, New Door Social Entrepreneurship, the head of this accelerator, Diana Lapkes. Yeah, Diana. Some words from you about anything.
Thank you, thank you. Hello everyone, and it's a truly pleasure to be here, and it's a proud moment today as one of the co-founders of Baltic Circle Ecosystem, a new NGO which came and was built out of the shared vision for more sustainable, collaborative and future-ready Baltic region. Representing Latvian first social entrepreneurship accelerator, New Door, I had the privilege of working closely with pioneers and change makers who don't just dream of a better world, but they build it. And today, with this new NGO, we take another bold step in that direction. The idea for this ecosystem didn't just emerge for strategy session and policy paper, it was sparked by real needs, voiced by grassroots innovators, circular economy enthusiasts, and social entrepreneurs who have long been working in silos. Each has been doing impactful work, yet often lacking the support structures, networks, or visibility needed to scale that impact, and I hope we are going to help them. But this is not just about environmental sustainability, it's about economic resilience, social inclusion, and generational responsibility. At New Door, we've seen what happens when social entrepreneurs are given access to the right resources at the right time. Innovation flourishes, communities benefits, and system begins to shift. With the Baltic Circular Ecosystem, we aim to scale that model, not just within one country, but across the entire region, as we see in this beautiful logo. To our partners, supporters, and early believers, thank you for standing with us and at the beginning of this journey. And to everyone here today, we invite you to join us, to create, to challenge, and to collaborate, because the circular future isn't something we wait for, it's something we build together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. So, colleagues, I think we need a common photo of founders and board. What do you think? At least those whom we have. Edgar, Diana, come here. Yeah, Mrs. Rector, please. Yeah, Mrs. Rector. How to say? Mrs. Rector, yeah. Sounds strange, yeah, Mrs. Rector. Yeah, and Yanni, we need this, yeah, logo to be seen. Thank you very much. So, colleagues, you know how I like precise schedule. Yeah, you know my German, as I say always, idea, yeah, about precise timing. Yeah, I'm not precise today. You see, we finished our first part a little bit early before the break. Yeah, sorry about this. Remember that this is the first time when we changed our format. Yeah, so it means that now we will have a break a little bit longer than it was expected. What time is it now? A little bit longer. I think we can start our keynote speeches just earlier. What do you think? Maybe half an hour earlier. James, do you mind? No problem. Maria? It's okay, yeah? So, it means... we should wait for the coffee pause now, yeah, and then we will see how it's going on, yeah, and we'll start order. I will invite you, yeah, to get back, yeah, and we will maybe finish a little bit earlier. But remember that you all are welcome today to be at the welcome party. Welcome party will be here at the same hall, yeah, so you're really invited. So my colleagues, thank you very much for your attention, and now is break before our keynote speeches. flashlight.
Do you think it's necessary for me to use a microphone?
Yes, because it's video translation to YouTube. Without a microphone, it will not be heard.
That's why I asked.
Yep,
I also asked, and they said I have to stay at the
No,
podium.
no.
I
You
don't?
should not, you should not
I
stay
can-
here.
I can
Oh,
move
you can
around?
move. They just, you see, the camera is there.
Okay.
You can even go to there.
Okay, all right then.
Dear colleagues, I would like to invite you to the second part of our plenary session. Not everyone ready, yeah, for the plenary session yet. Mrs. Rector? No chance. Ah, she's speaking with Eugenia. Nice. I like this, Mrs. Rector. It's like, James Bond, yeah, Mrs. Rector. How to say other? How we can call rector? Boss. Okay, simply boss. Okay, simply boss. Okay, colleagues, are you ready to continue? We are starting a half an hour earlier, as I told you, and it means we will finish our plenary session half an hour earlier, but the welcome party starts at the time in the schedule, okay? So, those who attended etECH probably 2 years ago, I'm not sure, yeah, or maybe last year, doesn't matter, yeah. So when we have Daria, Oksana, it was last year, yeah. So everything was fine, after the plenary session, everybody happy, and just Daria, the professor from Poland, yeah, and our good friend, came to me and says, Yelena, yeah, just don't be offended. Yeah, everything was great, everything was perfect, but next time, please think about gender equality. You had 3 keynotes, and all of them were men. So I really remember this always, But this was not the reason why I selected this particular person. The reason was they are really perfect. And the presentation, about one at least, yeah, I know exactly that it will be really great. About others, I'm sure that this presentation will be great because of great personalities of our guests. So, and the first floor is given to the Professor James Cochran from the University of Alabama, very big university, right? In the state of Alabama, USA, yeah. So his first time in Riga and first time at etECH, but he already managed to have a lunch with our prime minister. Yeah. Yeah, so, very interesting man, yes. So, James, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yelena. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I thank etECH and the organizers of etECH and Yelena for inviting me to speak at this conference, and Yevgenia for helping me with all of the arrangements for making this trip. I'm really happy to be in Latvia, and I'm enjoying my time in Riga very much. Beautiful country, beautiful culture, great food, lots and lots and lots of food, but all very good food. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something that I hope is appropriate for everybody. When you give a plenary talk, You have to go beyond your own discipline and speak about something that's going to be of broad interest across many disciplines. You don't want to do something terribly technical relative to your discipline. And I think this is going to fit the bill. First thing I'm going to do is correct the first slide. It's a few hours past that, right? Let's say Laba Pekpush Diena. Is that correct? Okay. Oh, good afternoon instead of good morning. Back home. Back home. I'm 8 hours behind. It is still morning, very early morning, so that would be appropriate. So why do we want to talk about cleverness? What is it about cleverness that has appealed to me? I'm at a point in my career where I'm actually looking at things that I have done, things that other people have done, things that are doing, and trying to see some commonality. What is it that determines the big wins in research? What is it that determines the big wins in problem solving? What is it that determines the big wins for my students, right? And I'm going to answer this question, why cleverness, with two multiple choice questions. Here's the first one. What is consistently the most effective way to publish your applied research? Is it A, finding and solving a previously unidentified, extremely difficult problem, solving an extremely challenging problem that few others have attempted to solve, solving an extremely challenging problem that several others have attempted to solve and failed, or D, solving an extremely challenging problem for which the solution has great potential impact? So, how many think it's A? How many think it's B? How many don't want to vote? Okay. All right. My answer is C. Solving an extremely challenging problem that several others have tried and failed. These are the kind of problems that have a lot of attention. These are kind of the problems that if you're able to solve them, they make a big difference. And the fact that I didn't say anything about great impact here, well, I think the fact that several other people have tried to solve these problems already says that they are of some impact. You know, most of us don't go out and try to solve problems that are meaningless. I'm not going to say anything about certain disciplines, but in general, we don't try to do that. So it's solving a problem that lots of people have tried but have failed. All right, another multiple choice question. What characteristic of potential employees never becomes obsolete? I've thought about this a lot because students will ask me, especially when I teach undergraduate, sophomore level introductory statistics to students that don't have any background in any other discipline, and I have to make it applied. So I have to explain the different disciplines and how statistics can actually relate to them. And they will say to me, what do I need to do to be prepared for the job market? You know, things change so rapidly. What do I need to do to be ready to go out and interview? And I tell them there are certain things that don't go out of style. So which of these do I tell my students never go obsolete? Problem solving ability, bilateral communication skills. By that I mean the ability to communicate with people and be communicated with. Listening is very important. Hearing is very important. Interpersonal skills, kindness, thoughtness, integrity, honesty, dignity, diligence, your willingness to work hard and to treat others properly, or all of the above. Well, I think this one's pretty easy, right? Yeah. You know, so, you know, people say, oh, I got to learn more about AI. I've got to learn more about this. I've got to learn more about that. Yeah, that's all true. But the bottom line is, you get hired by good companies, by good employers, because you can solve problems, because you can communicate about what you're doing and why you're doing and what the results mean, because you can hear people when they tell you what their problems are. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with computer programmers who want to write their own code to solve the problem that they want rather than the problem that you've given them. They haven't listened, you know. And being willing and able to treat people decently, it's unbelievable what a difference that actually makes. I hate to say it, but you can get away with a lot of incompetence if you're a really nice person. But you put all of this together and you are the whole package, right? And both of the answers to these questions basically deals with cleverness, right? Gardner has developed a concept of multiple intelligences. He talks about visual or spatial. This is our ability to view the world in multiple dimensions. It's kind of spatial ability, spatial acuity. Linguistic and verbal, obviously this is the ability to use words efficiently and correctly. Logical and mathematical, this is the ability to solve math problems, see patterns, and see relationships between things that other people don't see. There's the body and kinesthetic. This is the ability to control your body and do things with your body. This is athletic skill, basically. Musical, it's your ability to hear patterns and rhythm and sound and turn around and create something hopefully appealing out of all of that. There's also interpersonal. This is your ability to understand and sense other people's emotions and react to them appropriately, understand their motives, and use that information in an appropriate way. There's intrapersonal, and this is your ability to understand yourself. And in some ways, at least in academics, sometimes, I was an associate dean for 7 years. So I worked with 220 faculty members, and most of them were great to work with. But every once in a while, you come up with somebody who doesn't have this going for them. They don't have a clue about what their role is, or about what they're doing, or about how what they say and do affects other people. And that's not pleasant to be around. It's difficult. And then finally, naturalistic. And those are people who read and understand nature. And the way Gardner saw this is that these all are actual different types of intelligence, which is why when I talk in my introductory statistics class about various variables, one of the things I'll bring up is IQ. And I'll tell them that the idea of measuring IQ with a single number is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. You just can't do it. It's a broadly multidimensional construct. And it's not that they're all that correlated either. So trying to condense that to a single value doesn't make much sense. And that's kind of what Gardner's getting at here. All right, so now the question is, what's the difference between intelligence and cleverness? The way I would define intelligence is it's the ability to develop and understand contexts, concepts, ideas, the way people are communicating with you, and then to use or apply the understanding that you've gained. And hopefully you notice, and my students do notice, I never use the word knowledge, because I don't think for the most part knowledge exists. What exists is understanding. That's what we're trying to develop, an understanding of the world around us, and how can we use that understanding to actually solve problems and address issues. So this is intelligence. Cleverness is being inventive. It's being imaginative. It's being thoughtful in an ingenious way. It's being innovative. It's being artful, right? So what's the relationship between these? I would argue that this is something that can happen in any of those areas that Gardner talked about. And the relationship, at least the way I see it, is pretty simple. Cleverness comes in when we're talking about how we use and apply the intelligence that we have, how we use and apply these concepts, contexts, and ideas that we've developed an understanding about. All right? So it's a component of intelligence. There are a lot of intelligent people who aren't clever. There are even some clever people who aren't very intelligent, and a lot of them go into politics, okay? All right, and you can read whatever you want into that statement, given that I come from the United States. Right? So now people say, well, okay, I understand that how cleverness relates to intelligence, but why are you making a distinction between cleverness and creativeness? They seem like the same thing. No, they're not. They're very, very fundamentally different. Cleverness is, as we've kind of alluded to, a resourceful use of knowledge or logic to solve a problem. Smart solutions, often within rules or constructs or constraints or context. That's what we mean by cleverness. You have an emphasis on efficiency, and a lot of times there's a surprise It's something that's completely different from what you've seen before, but within the context of the problem. It often involves critical thinking or logic, and this is something that I think we need to work harder to get our students to use. They all come to us with some ability to think critically and be logical, but the education system, at least in my country, I think kind of stamps it out of our students. You know, they end up looking for the right answer instead of thinking about what we're talking about, right? Clever problem solvers are oftentimes really good at solving puzzles. They're really good at using the right tool in the right way. They're really good at, I hate to say it, working the system. You know, a lot of times clever people are the ones that look at rules and they figure out ways to use rules to their advantage. So cleverness, for example, is really useful if you're an attorney, because that's what attorneys do. There's a set of rules, and they look at those rules and they think, okay, how can I use those to my client's advantage? The same thing is true of accounting. How do I, within these rules, be clever about the rules and actually enable my client to pay fewer taxes, right? Something like that. So that's cleverness. Creativeness, on the other hand, we're talking about creating something brand new, something original, something meaningful by seeing connections, by seeing relationships, by seeing things that other people haven't seen. So you can think of creativity as thinking within the box, and cleverness is thinking within the box, and creativity as thinking outside of the box. If you're talking about creativity, you're talking about focusing on novelty, you're talking about being imaginative, you're talking about having vision that other people don't have. It involves making something new, something that other people have not envisioned, something that other people have never thought of, or maybe they thought of and gave up on, right? It frequently operates creativity outside of an existing framework, right? That's what makes it creative. And creative problem solvers are often very good at inventing systems or tools entirely. How many of you know Star Trek? Anything about Star Trek? Okay, so you know who Captain Kirk is, right? I'm not a Star Trek fan. I'm really not. But I married a wonderful, wonderful woman who is. And so I watched it with her for a while when we first got married. We've been married over 40 years. First got married, I watched it with her. And there's a lot of episodes where they allude to Captain Kirk actually solving this problem at Starfleet when he was a student. They were given a simulation that's impossible to get out of. And he actually solved it. And they talk about it over and over and over again, but they never say how. Then in one of these Star Trek movies, after the show got canceled, 10 years later, 15 years later, they start making movies because they realize they can make a lot of money from the people who still like Star Trek. And Kirk's about to die, and he tells his ex-wife how he solved the problem. He broke into the code and he changed it. That is pretty darn creative. I mean, clever. That's clever. That's what I'm talking about here. You know, let's look at a problem and let's think about a different way that we can go about solving it. All right, so key differences. Not going to go over these in any great detail. It's pretty redundant with what I've already said, but clever, we're talking about smart and ingenious. Creative, we're talking about being original, having imagination. Results are very, very efficient and surprising if you're talking about cleverness. Novel and insightful if you're talking about creativity. If we want to talk about things with regard to problem solving, right? Cleverness leads us to finding elegant or surprising solutions. Efficiency or optimization within defined constraints. Tactical and often exploits a hidden trick or shortcut, whereas creativity is, again, creating fundamentally new approaches and new ways to look at and address an issue or problem. A lot of times, creativity comes about when people were working on a problem that other people don't even recognize exists yet, right? That's how far out creative people are sometimes. They're very innovative, and we're talking about real breakthroughs here. So we're not talking about solving everyday problems if you're talking about creativity, all right? But when we're talking about cleverness, that's exactly what we're talking about. And we should value both. In research, this is always thought of as the Holy Grail. When I was working on my dissertation, The idea was in optimization that there were two ways of looking at problems. There were two paradigms. There's one paradigm that says we know the value of every parameter of our optimization problem with certainty, and we call that deterministic. Okay? And that seems pretty unreal, right? It doesn't seem very realistic. So somebody came along and they said, okay, what if we don't know the parameters, some of the parameters' values, but what if we know their probability distributions? We know that, for example, something in our objective function is normally distributed with a mean of 10 and a standard deviation of 18. And they called that stochastic. But to me, it seemed like that still implies that you know something about the parameter. In some ways, it implies you know more about the parameter than a deterministic model. But this was the lay of the land. This was the paradigm. It was deterministic versus stochastic. In my dissertation, I actually talked about and set the guidelines for neither of these. Going out and actually collecting sample data and estimating the value of a parameter. I think this is what people were doing all along, but nobody had identified it, nobody had talked about it. And ultimately what this did is it expanded the paradigm from deterministic versus stochastic to deterministic versus stochastic versus sample-based. And sample-based is very different than stochastic. And I've had, let's say, discussions with some of my colleagues who work in stochastic optimization that try to claim that what I'm doing is just a subset. But it really isn't, and it's become recognized as a third part of this, this framework of optimization. And that I would call creativity. What I'm going to do now is show you a couple of examples that I've come across recently of cleverness that illustrates why this is so important to problem solving versus creativeness. I also got a chart here on cleverness versus creativeness in academic research. Again, if you're clever, you're usually making sharp insights. This kind of gives away my math background. You're writing more elegant proofs. If you're creative, you're developing brand new theories, brand new conceptual frameworks, new research paradigms, or even in the extreme case, you're developing a brand new discipline or a subfield of a new discipline. So for example, I actually took optimization and applied it to a presidential platform in the United States and worked for a little while with Hillary Clinton, not very long, and that's why the title of that talk is Don't Blame Me. But that ultimately resulted in the creation of this subfield called political engineering, right? That is not something I'd call clever, that's something I'd call creative. Let's talk a little bit about some examples of cleverness. Well, just a summary real quick. Clever problem solvers, again, are good at working the system, solving puzzles, applying the right tools. Creative problem solvers often invent brand new systems, brand new rules, brand new tools. And a lot of times, people will not accept what they've done because it's so radically different. Clever researchers often take something someone else has done and make incremental improvements or incremental leaps, whereas creative researchers make conceptual leaps, something, again, that's brand new. So let's talk a little bit about cleverness, the types of cleverness. I think there are two types. One is direct, and this is where you are clever with regard to how you solve a problem. Okay? And this is what most people think of when they think of cleverness. But you can also be clever in how you perceive a problem, how you understand a problem, how you frame a problem, how you approach a problem. And that is external or enabling cleverness. Right? Here's one example. I really like this example. A few years ago, I'm in Santiago for the I-Force conference. I end up having lunch with the director of the Santiago subway system. And he says to me, well, first of all, this is what the system kind of looks like. This is a little toy version, but what do you see? You see different stations, 7th Avenue, Acker Boulevard, Benny Lane, and what was the fourth one? Baker Street. And you see a subway train with how many cars on it? 6 cars. And it lines up perfectly with the station, right? So people can get on the cars, they can get off the cars whenever they stop at a station. And this gentleman tells me that he had a problem he had to fix. The system needed to increase capacity, right? but the platforms can only accommodate 6 cars. So, how do you expand a subway system? One, you can expand the platform, make it wider so that it can handle more cars. What's the problem with that? Pardon? Yeah, it's expensive, right? Why is it so expensive? Where are subways? Yeah, they're underground. You've got to work underground. This is very expensive and disruptive, right? So that's not a good solution for him, all right? Why not add more full trains and run more routes, right? Run more frequently. Well, the problem is it's already really efficient. You can't shove another train in between 2 other trains. They run too close together. You can't fit them in. So this is infeasible. You could build new stations, but now we're back to the same problem we had with expanding stations, only worse. They're underground and they're too expensive, and you build more stations, you might actually increase demand, and this is something you want to control. You could increase the size of the individual cars so that it can handle more people. But the problem now is you might have to lay a whole different gauge of track to handle bigger cars. And that is very expensive as well. So here's what this gentleman did, and I think it is absolutely brilliant. Let's just run the animation and see if you see what he did. So what's going on here?
They stop differently.
Yeah, they stop differently because of what? The color is everything. You alternate blue and red stations. You add 3 cars to the train. The front 3 cars are red, the back 3 cars are blue, the middle 3 are striped blue and red, or they could be purple, because purple is blue and red combined, right? Yes. So what you do is, when you pull up to a red station, any car that has red on it lines up with the platform, and the blue cars don't. When you pull up to a blue station, any car with blue on it, either striped or solid, aligns with the station, and the red cars don't. So all you need is a splash of paint, and you kind of need to educate the riders to get on the right car, right? But what did he do? He just expanded his capacity by how much? 50%, by just adding 3 cars to each train. That was feasible, that was doable, that was inexpensive. I think that was extremely clever. I was very impressed with that solution and with this individual, right? Here's a second example. Buddy of mine up at Yale, Ed Kaplan. He's been asked by his city to forecast the need for hospital beds. This is a few years ago. Forecast the need for hospital beds for COVID-19 patients, and they wanted an accurate forecast 2 weeks in advance so they could prepare, so they could realign parts of the hospital so that it could accommodate more patients or fewer patients. All right? Now, the initial plan was to simply randomly sample the population to see how deep COVID had penetrated the population. Problem is, how do you sample people to test them for COVID? You take their blood, which means you need cooperation, all right? Many citizens are going to refuse to cooperate. The sample could or probably would be badly biased. And this is something that you got to think about. You could actually be spreading COVID if you don't do the testing properly and you're taking blood. So what does this gentleman do? What does his research do? His team do? Well, how can the city collect a representative sample and maybe have everyone contribute? All right? How do they collect data that's easy to access, so it's cheap and you can turn it around quickly? How do you do so in a manner to which no citizen can or would possibly complain or object? And how do you do it so that no citizen has a legal or even operational way to opt out? Any ideas? How do you collect these data?
Send by post.
Pardon?
Send by post.
No, people still refuse. Here's a clue. Yeah, they went wastewater, exactly. They went to sewage treatment plant and took samples. And this is how the city could collect representative data to which everyone contributes, don't they? I think so. I've tried to not contribute on long flights, and it's very uncomfortable. Right? It's easy to access. It might not be pleasant, but it's really easy to access. All right? I don't hear anybody objecting. I don't think anybody wants to object to this. They don't even want to talk about it. And nobody has a legal right to opt out. Once you flush the toilet, it doesn't belong to you anymore. Okay, so third example. I thought that was extremely clever, and it's been done in other instances as well. Third example, city detect an urban blight. Some of us at the University of Alabama, and a colleague of mine in particular, created a machine learning algorithm that could read digital photographs of houses, colorize the photos according to property blight violations. They need painting, the yard needs cut, something needs repair, a window's broken, something like that. These are blight violations. It outputs the results to a database, and the database feeds the data into a dashboard that the city can look at and assess. Here's an example. This is a house, I think we can all agree, it's probably seen better days, needs a little help. Now, if we run it through this system, this artificial intelligence system, this is what we get. Right? So, windows are colored blue because they need to be repaired. The facade of the house, it's colored yellow, it needs to be painted. The soffits are purple, they need to be repaired. The doors are green, they need to be repaired. We've got lighter green down here, or purple for debris, right? We've got light green for vegetation on the roofs. And ultimately, this is the data that goes into the database. This particular house has all of these different International Property Maintenance Code violations. Those go into the database. And ultimately, what we're able to do is to create a dashboard for the city that includes every house in the city. This is what we want to do. It's got to include it in a time series. In other words, we get the data at a regular basis, time after time after time, right? And it's got to consist of photographs that are taken from approximately the same place for each house, so that we get a comparable set of photographs of a house. That's what it means to have a time series. And we have to do this in every period. This is what we want to be able to give the city. They have photos of houses, and they know where the locations of the houses are. The dots indicate red means the house is blighted. The darker the red, the more the blight. Green means the house isn't blighted. The darker the green, the better the shape the house is in. You can see some yellows, some oranges, some light greens, some whites. So there's a variety of outcomes here. Now the city can look at that, and they can even find areas where blight is a problem. They can call up an individual home, and they can go through the time series photographs. But we have to be able to get the photographs. How do we get a photograph of every home in a major city on a regular basis from approximately the same perspective? What do we do? Google Street Views. That's an idea that comes up a lot, but the problem is they don't cooperate with you. They don't go out and do that often. The house that I live in, if I go out and look at the Google photo, it's 12 or 13 years old. It predates when I lived there. I know it does because I planted trees in the front yard, and they're not in the photo. So how do we do this? Yes, very good. All right, very good. We actually do a couple things. We build a database with the property codes and the GPSs in the database for every house in the city. We then open up a camera, and we install Raspberry Pi software and GPS software so the camera is capable of knowing where it is, deciding when to take a photograph, and uploading the photograph to our cloud database. All right. We then install a solar panel on the side of the camera for obvious reasons. We don't want it to run out of juice. Then we attach a big magnet to the camera, and we attach it to the side of a trash truck. Every week, these trucks roll through the city. Every week, they stop at approximately the same place in front of every house. Every week, nobody knows their house is getting photographed. The other thing we had to do is we had to be careful not to violate people's privacy. So we had to go in and augment the code so that if a human face was in the photograph, it would get blurred. Okay, so that was a consideration. But this is actually the daughter.
Police will
Pardon?
Sooner or later, police will ask
Yeah,
for
well, the faces are all blurred out, so I don't know what they would do with them, but nobody's asked yet. We've done this in about 30...
Can you also remove blurring?
Pardon? Nobody's asked yet. Maybe someday, but yeah. Right. So, go ahead.
Yes, so that in this case, and what about the privacy?
Oh, that's why we blur the faces. That's why we blur the faces. And we're taking the photos from the street. They have no right to privacy from the street in our country. All right, I can go take a photo of anybody's house I want in the United States as long as I'm not standing on their property. So, and you could even argue the trucks have been invited in. When you put your trash out at the curb, you're basically inviting a truck to come and pick it up. So there is no legal problem here. We've not had any issue with that at all. And we haven't had any complaints.
Probably with this case comes the question about privacy and safety. Privacy and safety.
Okay, what about safety?
Safety. Safety. Yeah?
Safety?
Yeah.
What about safety?
I mean that to explain the persons.
Oh. Well, again, they're blurred out, so they're not identifiable. I don't know, maybe we could probably even write it so that they would be removed completely from the photo, but right now they're blurred out, and again, we haven't had any problems. So, other questions? All right. Okay, so what about students? Now, I've talked a lot about research, but what about students? I developed and I run these things called teaching effective colloquia around the world. Established them in 2005, the international version. They're based on a similar domestic effort that I ran for about 10 years for the Institute for Operations Research and Management Science, and they were very effective. They feature several speakers who come in and talk about how to make applied mathematics education, primarily operations research, statistics, analytics, make it more engaging for students. We're trying to reel bright students into the discipline, right? We're also trying to form teams of students and faculty to apply the tools of our discipline to problems in society and humanitarian issues. And all of this is done to encourage students to actually work on problems and be clever, right? Right? These colloquia, there are a lot of different topics they can include. Some of them that we've had, teaching with technology, distance learning, collaborative learning, active learning, writing and teaching with cases, project-based learning, teaching modeling skills, but anything that the host thinks their participants might need, we can find somebody to come in and talk about. And there's usually 3 or 4 workshops that we develop, and we try to get the host to also develop 3 or 4 workshops because we want this to be an exchange. Yep, almost done. So we've organized and conducted these in lots of different places. Not all I would consider to be developing nations. Some have very well developed. And in conclusion, I think the problem we have as a species is that we're passive. People consistently and blindly rely on science to make order out of chaos that they may or may not create and solve problems that they create. Also, at least in our country, what we're finding even more and more is people paradoxically mistrust scientists but rely on scientists. And this is a difficult position to be in. And science really only, though, provides the conditions for solutions. Science doesn't provide solutions. Cleverness is what provides solutions. Science provides the fertile ground for cleverness. But without cleverness, there are no solutions, right? And it's essential as scientists that we do a better job of communicating what we do and why we do it. It's also imperative that we make people understand better what the process of science really is and what the limitations are. You know, I see people all the time in commercials or whatever. You know, we did research and we proved this. You can't prove anything with research. You collect evidence, but you can't prove anything. And I know it seems like just a little jump to go from say we have evidence to we have proof, but it's not. It's a big deal. Okay, so let's see, anything else? It's imperative that we be clever in our problem solving and academic research, and that we encourage our students to be clever. Let's see, and I'm going to skip over this because I'm running out of time. I was going to go through this in a little more detail, but these are just different examples of how people I know have used mathematics to create various art, right? Very, very cool stuff. That's dominoes, actually. I think everybody recognizes who that is. There's another approach. That is all one line connected, traveling salesman approach. Here's another approach, shaded dots. There's another approach. I don't remember what those triangles are called, but they have a very specific name. There's dominoes again. Here's some art that was developed by an undergraduate student of mine from several years ago using mathematics as well. Thank you. And thank you in every language I've ever presented to people in. If I'm missing, you let me know. Okay, so thank you very much for your time and attention. Okay. Do we have time for questions, or should I just move on?
I think we can leave the time for questions after the plenary and during the welcome party, okay? Just to finish in time, okay? And yeah, I already have a question. Yeah, what is better, to be clever or creative? Yeah, so okay. But okay. So, thank you very much, teacher. It was really interesting. I like interesting presentations. I mean, we always just listen to some scientific presentations, yeah, some evidences, yeah. But I like at the plenary session people hear something new, interesting, and inspiring. And this was a great example. Thank you very much. So the next presenter is the representative of the New Door Social Entrepreneurship Foundation, also our friend and co-author of publications, yeah, co-author in research, Maria Pavilaita. Please tell about yourself, yeah, if I missed something.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be here. It's my first speech at a scientific conference in my entire life. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm here as a practitioner, so I think I will be bringing a much needed and very interesting perspective. I am, as Elena mentioned, one of the co-founders and a board member of Social Entrepreneurship Accelerator, the first social entrepreneurship accelerator in the Baltics. What makes us different, we are completely grassroots. We are actually 3 businesswomen that came together 13 years ago, realized that the social entrepreneurs in Eastern Europe, at least in Eastern Europe, but now we know that in many parts of the world, don't have to be taught how to do good. They need to be taught how to build a business model. So, because most of the social entrepreneurs in our part of the world, they are facing very real problems. They already have ideas of solutions, but they don't know, or they struggle to make their solutions sustainable. And the solutions are very, very needed because they are, I mean, it's also mostly grassroots. It's not EU giving money to somebody. It's not somebody wanting to, innovate for the sake of innovation, just like make our life more fun. It's because somebody is in pain, basically, in one way or another. So, the rest of my life, except for the Social Entrepreneurship Accelerator, I've been in business for over 20 years in different industries, but mostly in the entertainment industry, namely film production, music production, and event production. But I also have a lot of experience in other parts like wholesale and real estate, so very varied experience. But today, I want to talk about social impact measurement because this topic is both very theoretical, but it's also very, very practical. And the way it's used in theory and in the academic world, in the, let's say, in EU institutions, and how it's used in real life is quite different. And actually, right now, our team in UDOR, we're involved in a research project that's called RESIST, together with Riga Technical University, where we're actually hired by Riga Technical University specifically to develop a social innovation ecosystem impact assessment framework that would be usable, easy enough to use for any social enterprise or any accelerator or any organization in the social innovation ecosystem. This is quite a challenge, I can tell you, because probably those of you in the social sector, like you've seen, I mean, there are thousands of papers published, like long researches and so many guidelines, and most of them are, I wouldn't say unusable, but they're very difficult to use in the real life circumstances. So our task is to make something so simple that any small social enterprise in a Latvian village can actually use it, have an annual impact report, and communicate it. And okay, that was all an introduction. So where is my, okay. So why do we measure impact in general? Have you ever submitted an impact report and wondered, is this really helping anybody to improve? I know you have, because we all have submitted such reports. So the attitude of ticking a box and the attitude of managing and improving, these are two completely different directions. And both are needed. Like, we need to report to the funders, to the boards, and so on. But in real life, like even inside, even psychologically, we want to measure to improve. Like, we want to see the meaning in what we do. I think everybody, like, before we went through the system and the system has crushed anything that's human inside of us, we all wanted to bring the improvement, right? Like, that's like common sense. We want to see results. So this managing to improve motivation gives completely different outcome. And while we are part of a system and we have to report, I think it's very important to nurture this other motivation that we're measuring to manage and to improve. This is a graph that maybe you've seen it. It's been used in EU papers many, many times. I think it was first published by European Venture Philanthropy Association, steps for measuring impact, bringing us to managing of the impact. But when I saw it, I thought that something is like really wrong with this picture. What do you think is wrong in comparison with real life? I don't have time to wait for your answer. Oh, you have an answer, please. Thank you. Because when I saw it coming from my practical experience, I thought, this is crazy. This is even arrogant. How do you set an objective from inside of your organization, no matter how big your organization is, especially if you're a specialist in the field, without going to the people that you are going to impact and asking them what aches? What is hurting? What is stopping you systemically? Like, it's nice, it's beautiful, but yes, the first and second definitely has to be switched. So the first step for measuring impact is you have to start your impact strategy from stakeholders. And really, when you think about it, any organization can and maybe should have an impact strategy. Maybe very simple one, but I mean, we all impact each other. Like, whatever you're building, whatever you're producing, whoever you're teaching, you're impacting your community, the closest and the furthest. So it's kind of good to be aware of it and to be able to manage it and to measure it and to realize, like, something is going wrong. We have to improve. So the first step is, of course, knowing your stakeholders. And the stakeholder ecosystem that you can map involves users, payers, and decision makers that sometimes are the same person or company or organization. Sometimes they're completely different, like in education, decisions are made by parents, paid by municipality, and the users are kids, and they all have experience with your organization. And they're, of course, good to watch, to monitor the level of beneficiaries to see how far your impact goes. So you have, when you map the ecosystem and you understand the stakeholders and you've surveyed you research the stakeholders, while many things in the social impact area and in other areas we do intuitively, and let's be honest, we do it intuitively and we do it well. Like, we think we want to systematize everything, but so many things we don't systematize and they're still working, and that's fine. But without the strategy, you won't be able to measure it. That's the problem. So as soon as you want to scale the impact, when you want to go further, then you're like, oh, I should have had a strategy, because if I have a strategy, I have a goal that I've communicated to the team, to all the stakeholders, to all the funders, and now I can measure it. So in the absence of the strategy, we collect data, but we interpret it randomly, which is still okay for reporting many times. I've seen it many times. It still gets a beautiful report with pictures, but it doesn't help you with improvement. The framework that we found is very, very common sense and very, very useful for impact measurement is the theory of change. But there is a very important moment. Many organizations start from input. And we suggest you should start from impact. Why? Because when you start from impact, when you start from the top, like that's my goal, you turn on what's called blue sky thinking. For a second, you forget that you're poor, you forget like what limitation exists in your country, and you say, well, whatever happens, let me believe for just once, and you understand this kind of thinking is really good for, mapping the future. You don't want to plan a future where you are unable to do something. When you dream, when you set goals, you have to believe you will be, like, it's a basic human psychology. So when you start from the top, you start from impact. Okay, this is how we want to change society. How we will make this change? We will need to reach the following impacts, like outcomes. For example, we want to reduce youth unemployment. How will it look? The youth will have stable jobs. Okay, on the short term, how will it look? The youth complete training and gain skills, and then they're able to get the jobs. How will it look on the output level? Oh, that's the reporting part. 100 young people trained. Fantastic. The activity, let's say it's digital literacy that is a problem in our area. So we run this boot camp, and then you get to the input. Only then you get to the input. But because you started from the impact, now you understand just running a boot camp is not enough. I need trainers that will be actually able in 3 months to teach these young people skills that will be required at, oh my goodness, it all becomes very practical and very hard. And we've heard this question so many times in our accelerator. Why do you want to do it so seriously? Well, because we want to see the practical, tangible result. So it does require a little bit more effort, but then you know that you will be able to reach the goal. And of course, in theory of change, the part that I really love is assumptions, because the fact that people who wrote the theory of change thought about that, like mentioned that we all start from assumptions, and they may be wrong. But we kind of bring them from subconscious onto the paper, and we say, but yeah, we assume there will be job openings for these young people. And coming from marketing thinking, when you have assumptions, the first thing you do, what do? You go talk to the employers. You check your assumptions, if they are realistic or not. This is how you bring theory into the practical field. So, the hard part, I think, is indicators. How do we choose? How do we choose the indicators? Because the indicators must reflect the strategy. not just the outputs. Again, this is a very common pitfall, that the indicators are there for reporting. So the indicators must show that you're moving towards the outcomes, and the outcomes are not always numerical. I mean, the outcomes can be behavioral change. You know, that's, by the way, another thing why I like theory of change, because it doesn't talk only about the numbers. See, social innovation is relational. That's why very often you cannot make it faster than it actually, I mean, it's like every parent knows. Every parent can say, I thought that would be easier and faster. Nobody told us it's going to be, like, whatever you thought about being a parent before you became a parent, it was harder than you thought. So the same goes for anything that's relational. Social innovation takes time. You can't just calculate it with numbers. You have to make sure that the results are, like, the relations are happening, the connections are built. Okay, so what we learned in this process that we're going through, that we're in this project about indicators, that they have to be very clearly aligned with the impact logic of your strategy. They have to be telling you what to do next. So don't even waste your time calculating data, like gathering data that you will not be able to act upon. And they have to show real change. And again, the feasibility is important. So the indicators have to be collected with reasonable effort. And that is a very important next slide. We had a lot of discussions with project partners about this. How do you not make your team to spend, I don't know, 2 weeks on putting together an impact report in the end of the year? Because nobody will want to, I mean, it should not become a new bureaucratic burden. Very common sense. You have to integrate, you have to embed indicator monitoring into your daily work. You know, little bits. If there is a connection, if there is a contact with a stakeholder, you know, add this 1 question or 3-question inquiry in your in this interaction. Automate. We live in a time where fantastic things can be automated. Automate whatever data gathering you can. But again, look at what, let me give you an example of indicators. Like, I'm sorry, I'm rushing because I don't want to spend so much time, but like there's, the more I speak, the more things come to my mind, although I have a plan. So, for example, a social enterprise small social enterprise runs a community garden, and the point of having this community garden is to provide fresh food for the neighborhood that doesn't have fresh food availability. So, what can be indicators? For example, percentage of participants that report, when asked, report on increased access to fresh food. Like, that's an indicator. Number of community events that have been hosted in that space, number of people who came and engaged and learned something. Percentage, for example, of young participants that gained certain gardening skills and that they're able to use. This is the type of indicators that are more than just numbers, because they're clearly tied to the outcome goals, like food access or like social inclusion or employment readiness. So when you embed the measurement into daily operation, it's very important, make it a part of workflow, not make it a burden. And this is my fantastic last slide. I asked ChatGPT to invent a quote that will be impressive, and I absolutely loved it. Because like nobody in their sound mind would even say this. I think it's just great. You don't weigh yourself to impress the scale. You do it to adjust your habits. So this practical approach to impact measurement, I think most of you being from the academic world, I think this is very important because we need we need the theory. You know, people on the ground, entrepreneurs on the ground, we need the theory, but we need it to be applicable, simplified, give us the gold, wash it and give us the gold that we can actually use. Also, there's an important aspect of knowledge not being left only to the elites, not being left only to those who understand very complex systems. Because these huge researches and books, published by European institutions, it is great and it's very good for the funders, for investors. They can calculate their impact, the social impact in money. But, on the human side of it, we all understand it's nonsense, right? Like most of our lives cannot be measured in money. It's just not, we wish, but it's not possible. That would be so simple, I once worked with an accountant. She said, I love everything in business except for the human factor. It spoils everything. And I said to her, my friend, everything in business is human factor except for money. So yes, I will leave you with this wonderful thought by ChatGPT. Thank you so much. I hope I provoked you to some new ideas. Thank you.
I really like this slide, the one probably before the last one, and the last sentence. Annual reporting should take like one working day. Yeah? I have Evgeny and Anna with me. Yeah? And June is our reporting month. Yeah? So hopefully they will not remember this slide because we're usually sitting like 3 weeks, yeah, gathering our data. So, but maybe we need to have a consultancy on this impact measurements because this is really what we're doing now. Yeah, trying to put all our efforts and indicators to this impact, and we need to know, yeah, it's mine. Thank you very much, Maria. So, colleagues, I'm not sure that you are pretty much related to social entrepreneurship, but if you are, or you have a interest, yeah, please take this opportunity to speak with Diana and Maria, because they know about social entrepreneurship everything. So, the last but not least, I have my third presenter, and actually this is a concrete, direct result of cooperation, because we met 1 month ago during the economic forum organized by Nina at the Latvian Academy of Science. And I was so inspired by Angelina, yeah, so that I told her, I want you to my conference, yeah, and she said, okay, yeah. So the question to you, just to have a little bit of activeness. What is your impression when you see two words together, Latvia and cosmos? You see, yeah? The space, okay, the space, yeah. But actually, after Angelina's presentation, I'm really sure that you will understand that Latvia is a very powerful country in space industry, yeah. So she is perfect, yeah, and she represents the Ministry of Economy and also the Latvian Space Association, and also actually Diana as well, yeah. So they know each other very well, yeah. So everybody are friends here, you know, yeah. So Angelina, the floor is yours. I'm really expecting.
Thank you very much. I guess people are a bit tired and hungry, but I heard it develops creativity and cleverness, so embrace the hunger. When we heard your reaction about Latvian space, I had the same reaction when people would tell me maybe 10 years ago, Latvian space. I was never a kid who would be a fan of space. I turned into a fan when I learned what we are doing in the space sector and how fast the sector is developing. So even if you are not linked to the space sector, This is not true. We're all part of the space economy. The economy is developing really quickly. So my advice is to really look into it and to use the opportunity. So right now I'm coining a new term, pop space. Many people maybe saw the new Blue Origin mission. Women travel to space. You see Katy Perry, they went to space, came back. A lot of criticism for this. This is the space we don't really talk about at the European Space Agency, the European Commission, but this is very important for the culture of the space sector. People are interested in this. And of course, if we say space, everyone, okay, Elon Musk. He influenced the space sector a lot, but it's not someone who we talk about all the time. He exists, but the actual space is a bit different. So, where are we now? Space races. You know, in the 20th century, the USSR, the US, they learned how to be ready to shoot into each other's direction. And then I guess people thought, let's not flex muscles, let's flex our brains, and let's use these capacities to shoot this direction. So a lot of technologies were transferred into the space sector. So first people in space, first people on the moon, very cool. Now there is also the space race, but the difference is that now businesses are at competition and all countries are part of the space sector. This is an international community. If you ask me something about your country in the space sector, for sure I will know something because everyone is very much involved in the space sector. It's a normal thing right now. First of all, talking about the space economy. Look, if we talk about green and renewable energy and we look at the compound annual growth rate, so CAGR, renewable energy will develop a lot. Tourism, as usual, 5%. Healthcare, 10%. ICT, we know, very fast, quickly developing industry, 11%. Space, in all sources, they have crazy numbers. The industry will grow, we know it for sure, so it's a good opportunity. But why? Another graph. Maybe 4 years ago, I checked the data about where we're heading to in the space sector. So we started, I didn't include the numbers, so okay. It's foreseen that by 2029, the size of the space economy will reach $1 trillion. Right now, we are somewhere here, and actually I checked the numbers, we are really here. What we promised maybe 5 years ago, we are here according to all statistics. But as you can see here, in 2029, I guess it was 2040, sorry, the numbers got lost in the way, there will be a huge leap in the space sector. Any ideas why? What is going to happen in 2030 that will force our development in the space sector very quickly? Any idea? So, the cost of space flight. Space will be super accessible, and this is the impact of Elon Musk. Look, to launch 1 kilogram of payload, so useful weight, into space in 1980s would cost $51,000. The aim of Elon Musk with his Starship to bring this number very soon to 200 euros. Let's put it into context. To launch me into space in the 80s would cost around $3 million, so 2.8. The aim is to bring it to 11,000. So now, different startups, they have access to space. So you can launch your small satellites wherever you want into space easily. Also scientists do the same. If you want to create a small lab and test it on the International Space Station, it is very affordable now, and it will be even more affordable. That will be a huge impact on the space sector. Another thing is data, and this is very much relevant for circular economy, sustainable development, social entrepreneurship, whatever you do, you can use data because it's digitalization. We have a lot of satellites, they bring data, either navigation or telecommunication, or my favorite, Earth observation. So look, this is the budget of the European Space Agency. Half of the budget will go for missions that will bring data back to Earth. This data usually is available free of charge. So, well, already paid from our taxes, so a good idea to use it. So, how the space economy looks like. Someone asked me, like, why do you need to launch a satellite if there is a satellite in space? And like, do you know there are 10,000 satellites with their own tasks, and there will be even more satellites. So look, we're going to launch many, many of them. We are going to go to the moon. There is the Lunar Gateway, a station that is going to circle around the moon, and a Latvian company is participating in this mission. Talking about our neighbors, Lithuanians, for example. Usually when I go to space conferences, people ask me like, oh, where are you from? Latvia. Latvia, nano-avionics is very good. And then I enjoy all the compliments, and it's like, yeah, it's Lithuania. So Lithuanians have a very leading company in the space sector. Norway already bought it, but it's a success story. So Lithuanians build the kind of buses, so the boxes where you put different instruments and you launch it into space. A very successful company. Estonians are our Baltic leaders in space. Usually you ask them for advice, and they have always very clever and creative ideas how to develop the space policies, and we are really great friends in the region. Talking about Latvia, what do we do in the global space economy? So we have around 50, 70 companies in the space sector. Usually those companies use space for growth on Earth. So we don't have space-based companies, we have space and Earth companies, which is also nicer. One of the leaders, EvenTech, sorry. They created an instrument that can measure time extremely precisely. How precise? So you draw 0, point, and then 15 zeros from a second, so 2 picoseconds. And that's why they were invited to participate in the HERA mission. This is a mission to protect the Earth from asteroids. Kind of crazy. Usually I sit on conferences and I think, like, what am I doing here? We're going to protect ourselves from asteroids. But this is a real thing. It's already in space. Last year it was launched. So the idea is to fly into one asteroid and see how the orbit changed. So we're safe. And Latvia is part of it, and that's kind of a big deal because usually it was very much highlighted that a small country got a role in the international mission. Cool thing. Alaterm, I told you already, we're going to have a Lunar Gateway, a space mission. It's going to circle around the moon. It's an international mission. NASA, European Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency. Everyone is going to work together, and Latvia is going to develop a fuel pump for this mission. And it wasn't like we very much asked for this mission. We were invited to participate in the mission because we had a unique capacity in Europe. No one else has it. One country has it, but it wasn't really a competitor. There are around 11,000 satellites, working satellites around the Earth. Even more not working satellites, and a lot of space debris, so garbage that is flying around. If that small piece of something flies into your spaceship, whatever, it will create a huge hole in it. So even a small stone is a problem. So we have to know what's going on the orbit. So there is a space surveillance and tracking partnership of the European Union, and Latvia was also invited to be part of it. So the University of Latvia provided their special sensors to develop the mission and to know what's happening around the Earth. So it's like space traffic management mission. Another one, it's about so I call this space, so technologies that are going to fly into space, the crazy space, and this is a normal space. So data is kind of, okay, once I said, like, why do you call it space? You just use space as a tool, and one woman was very much offended. It's still space. But a Latvian company is managing a Baltic consortium to analyze Earth observation data, to get information from it for governmental services. For example, for emergency management, or for forest monitoring, or for water monitoring, so that we can make data-based decisions. We have at least 2 space cities, Ventspils. They have very cool space infrastructure. When the European Space Agency visited us, they're like, so when do you have a small country? We say, like, well, this one. We pointed at this radio telescope. They said, it's your unfair competitive advantage, and they started running around like children, because this is the largest radio telescope in the north. You use this radio telescope to communicate to space missions, or also to explore space, but to communicate. They told me if I take my iPhone and put it on Mars, they can ensure that we can have a call between the Earth and Mars. That's how strong it is. It's going to be part of a large radio telescope mission. This is also a radio telescope. It looks like metal things on Earth. I didn't know it's a radio telescope. There are maybe 50 locations like this in Europe. When they work together, we use Europe as one huge radio telescope. And since it's so huge, so imagine like Europe is a telescope. We can see into the times before stars started forming. So it's like into the dark ages. It's crazy what people can already do in this world, and we are part of it. Also a lot of activities for kids, and you can always visit this infrastructure when you have free time. TESIS. 2 years ago, we launched a new space education center in TESIS. It's very similar to AHA in Estonia, but about space. Quite nice, different workshops for kids, but I also saw adults saying like, okay, some games for kids, but they failed in all the games. So you should actually think to pass them all. So an invitation to just spend your maybe a day of summer there, quite cool. We have a space strategy for Latvia, and we actually learned from our colleagues in other countries that the European Space Agency uses it as an example of a good space strategy. What do we want to achieve? Very simple. We want to develop talent. We want to develop technologies to export them, because a lot is going to be launched into space. Very nice to get some part of this economic opportunity. We need to innovate so that we have something to export, and we do digitalization. So we use space data for digitalization on Earth. This is my favorite part. So I told you, there is space, like you take all technologies, all the knowledge that you have on Earth, and then you transfer it so that they survive radiation, extreme temperatures, whatever, and you launch it into space. There is also the space sector which goes downwards. So again, navigation, communications, and Earth observation. And my space story started maybe 7, 8 years ago with Earth observation. I didn't know anything, but quite a cool thing. We have access to this data free of charge. Imagine these are just pictures of the Earth, like Google Maps, but they're getting updated in Latvia every second, third day. They're available free of charge, and they have super duper cameras. So you can see the content of soil, or you can calculate how much energy your solar panel will produce using sun in your region. So whatever you can imagine doing from distance and with super eyes, you can do it. You can see the content of air. You just like click one button, and you see stuff. I don't have space education, but I can play around with this data, and that's how I procrastinate. So, children like this thing, to get the guessing thing, but I don't think that they're better than us, so let's do the thing we do with children. Do you want to guess what do you see on the slide? This is a picture from a satellite of the Earth. Oh, very cool. No. This is the sea. This is a ship. And this is our algae. So the problem of the Baltic Sea that we have a lot of algae. Kind of looks very pretty, bad for the environment because it blocks sun from everything that's happening underwater. So there are seasons when algae are blooming, and voila. And you monitor the stuff, and then you know what to do, how to plan your, missions or whatever. Do you want to guess what that is? I think for Latvians that would be easier. No. Well, kind of Jurmala is the seaside. Exactly, but you want to guess what that is? Because usually the sea looks like just black. One day, again, procrastination session. Sorry? No, but maybe related. So there was some crazy wind, rain, whatever. So it's called sediment. So the sand and all dirt went under the water and created nice things. But then it would influence the seaports. So you know the situation. If you have tornado, it's very nice. You see these things, and you use satellite data for this to prepare where the tornado is, where it's heading, and you prepare emergency actions. Do you recognize the city? No? Very beautiful. Venice, okay? Do you see the line? Want to guess what that is? Yes. I expected someone would say like, rainbow. I would say no. So it's a plane. Okay, but why is this in the rainbow colors? There is another one. See? A plane, rainbow color. No? Sorry? Kind of, yes. So, you know, to produce this normal pictures, we use red, blue, green colors. And in satellites, these colors, kind of cameras are calibrated so that they're perfectly aligned on the ground. But the plane is higher and it's very fast. So this red, green, blue, RGB, goes like this. So very nice. Also my hobby to find them. And when you have the higher humidity, you see this chemtrails, as crazy people say. This. And this is another thing what you do. So this is not a Photoshop. So you combine different criteria for different indicators of satellite cameras, and you can produce very nice colors. So you use this also for art, so this science art. This is some lake in Asia, very pretty. I just saw, like, oh, a pretty lake. Let's play around with indicators, a very nice thing. So I would prepare exhibitions, like art exhibitions for this, and that's how we can raise also the importance of climate change, circular economy, whatever, because you can see how the Earth is changing. For example, this is, I think, a river in Amazon. See, it's changing. We can go back. You can see how the Earth is changing, and usually it changes like a lot, the river. Another thing, I randomly found, there is no information on the internet about this lake. This is a lake in Madagascar, and I don't know why it changed over time. It was very, very green, and then it turned red. And really, there is no information about the lake. I just randomly found it while traveling, sitting at my computer. You can do stuff like this. My dream is to have these tools integrated in schools, because my geography classes were horribly boring. But this would be very cool to use. And then you learn coding. And then you learn about the Earth. And the idea is to use this for business. You integrate this data for digitalization. Again, it's available free of charge. You just need that data scientists to work with it and to have ideas. What do we want to see from satellites about our Earth and how we want to improve stuff where we live? That's it. Just as for general knowledge, one more slide. How we think about space. Let's think about history. First people, they would discover new land and like, oh my God, new land. And then it's okay, it's our land. So we harness the benefits of new land. Then there were oceans. We discovered new continents. And then like, okay, the ocean, not a big deal. So we use our oceans for economy. Then airspace. Remember, several years ago, it was kind of a luxury thing to travel. And now we complain when we have to travel on the plane. Space will be the same thing. It's like, now it belongs to us. We know how to go there. We know how to use it. People are kind of, I like space people because they're rationally, they're crazy and rational at the same time. They tell you a crazy idea and it's like crazy, but they will do it and they know how to do it. So very nice community. My advice to really look into the opportunities that the space economy will bring to our lives, because you're going to hear about the space sector more and more. And people love explaining stuff. And there is no knowledge in space, there is understanding. So they are very keen to help everyone understand space. Thank you.
Thank you, Andoida. No, it was not this. The second one, yeah, the second one is working. Yeah, you were perfect. I'm just sitting like this. Yes, yeah, Latvian space, yes. So, are you happy? Not yet, yeah. Our plenary session is over. I think we had great presenters, really interesting, really making our think. Pardon? No, now we have gender equality. One man and two more. You mean I should have next year 4 presenters, yeah, or 2? Yeah, so we can vote, yeah, more or less. So, my dear guests, thank you very, very much for your attention. Thank you for coming. Yeah. So the official plenary session is over. And we are looking forward to seeing you at the welcome party, the same place, at 6:30. And it is absolutely informal, I mean, we will just drink, eat, chat, yeah, and celebrate our 9th etECH. Thank you very much, and see you soon in some hours.